Hi everyone, I've been drawing a lot and I've been trying and I think that I nailed it. I think that I have exactly the ingredients that you need to know in order to make a good drawing of a foot. I'm going to show you that right now, so just really pay attention, okay? Yeah, by the way, I'm Javi, I can draw. Let's go. So, what you can see here is that I have a series of pictures of feet. Now, the first thing I started to think was, well, what is the most, what I started to think is like, why do feet look like that? I know that it would be like, it's like deformed hands or whatever, but it's not. What I thought is like, what is the most stable, the form that evolutionary you could have, and the most stable volume in the universe is actually a pyramid. Is the foot a pyramid? Yes. Yes, it is. Now, if you put the top of the pyramid in the center of the cylinder, that would be your leg, you can see right here that it kind of applies. I'm not adding the toes to that surface because when you are standing, you're not actually using the toes to press. You're using them to get some balance, but you're not putting your weight on your toes, unless you're, of course, like walking. So let's take a look at these examples. You can see here that I have drawn several pyramid shapes that would apply to a fit in the most like general and basic shape. Because usually when you try to think about a foot, you think about something like a doorstop, but it doesn't really apply, and it kind of makes a difference in order to define the overall shape of the foot. Especially, look in this particular case, where you can actually kind of see the triangle. You can see the triangle here, I'm pointing, you can see the triangle here that, you know, you can draw here that is going to lead you to the top of the pyramid here somewhere between these two bones for the ankle. So, well, you can see when the foot is up, it's kind of the same. But now, well, the feet is actually not a pyramid. It is a much complex shape that in its overall volume, it looks like a pyramid. So I started thinking, well, what are the parts that actually you press against the floor when you're standing? And if you look at a foot, it's going to be the I have to show you this. Sorry, I have to show you this. I'm sorry, I'm taking my shoes off. You're going to have to watch my feet again. It's going to take just a minute. Okay, let's hope that the camera focuses. The parts that you're actually using when you're standing, it's not like this part isn't. It's going to be this part here. It corresponds to the bone that leads to the big toe, and it's going to be this part here. All of this arch here that belongs to the bone that leads to the pinky. And of course, you're going to use your heel. So it's going to be this 1, 2, 3. The foot is a tripod. Kinda, because this is an overall surface that you're pressing against, but it has the overall basics of a tripod. Let me show you what I mean. If I show you this here, well, the purple cylinder is going to be the ankle. The red shape is going to be the bones that belong to your big toe, and the blue one is going to be the bones that belong to your pinky toe. So if you start following, you can see in these images how it, the places where you're actually pressing the foot, and you can already tell, like if you look at this one, you can already tell, give me just a second, that these two and the position that they have is what actually leads the shape of the foot. You know, the kind of bump that you have on the top part of your foot that that is kind of hard to understand. Well, it is actually based on the interaction that these two bones have. Of course, there's a big bone in the middle that is kind of going to help with that curve, but you can already figure that out if you figure this two out. And I'm going to show you on some examples. So we can go through these bones so you can see it in other angles. See here, when you see the bottom of your foot, you can see that you have the cylinder here that is pressing this part of the bone that is pressing, and this part that kind of leads all the way towards the heel. Same thing here. I have a lot of examples, but it's okay. Same thing here. Here you can see from prominence of the pinky toe bone, and you can see that it leads to the cylinder, and you can have this leading the shape of the top of the bone. And what's interesting about this, and I'm going to show you right now, is that these two are what define your footprint, because since you don't have actually anything here on this part, it's going to make the foot take this curve here and then go back to the heel. And that is what defines this curve right here. I don't know if I'm filming this, but it is what defines this curve right here. And this thing is straight. Well, why? Because of this right here. Because this bone doesn't go too upward. It is why one part of the foot is flatter than the other. I have, well, some other examples here. You can see like prominence from the heel and how it would look from this side. And here is the walking. Well, you kind of get the idea, right? I know that it might look like it is hard to figure out, but it is not. Now, if you stop thinking about this tripod shape and we go on to more of an overall shape for the top part of your foot that is defined by these two particular bone structures, we're going to be looking at something like this, which is more or less like this twisted rectangle that if you look at your foot, you can clearly see that. And here I have some examples here and whatnot, and you can see actually, well, if you've seen the video that I showed yesterday, the link is going to be below for anatomy, you can see that actually this bone is not, this bone right here is not actually as plain as I'm making you see. It actually goes just a bit up, but the base is just the same, and it helps a lot to just think about it like if it's a bone that is straight on the floor, than to think that it goes a little bit up. That's just more when you're feeling a bit more comfortable with drawing feet. So I have here some examples of how that shape would look on like different positions. I think that the best one to look at it is actually this one, because come on, check it out. You can see from right here, you can see from where the feet start by having this shape define this part of the foot, and it kind of solves itself. Like once you have that, once you understand this shape, it's pretty easy to figure out the rest. Now, well, I'm going to show you that right now. If you actually, let me see, if you put them together, it's going to look like something like this. I know that what you're actually seeing are like 4 different geometric shapes trying to form one geometric shape that might not look like it's the easiest way to figure out a foot, but when you understand what each part does in the overall shape of a foot, it's a lot easier to see what you're going to be doing in the end. Like if you understand all shapes, it's not that hard. So I'm going to try to draw on top of them. I should let you know that I'm not good at toes yet, but that's just a matter of practice. So if you're going to do this shape, if I'm going to be based on this that I'm seeing, well, it's kind of going to be like this, and this is going to be the shape. What I'm trying to say is that maybe you don't have to learn to draw, like use all of these shapes when you're doing feet. But well, depending on the angle that you're drawing the feet on, it's good to know. Because you're going to know which bone is prominent and what it's going to be doing and how the other parts of the foot react from that perspective. So yes, it is useful. So let's see, I'm going to do them pretty quick and pretty rough. So I have to divide this in 1, 2, 3, 5, kinda. The toe would be here. Like, I don't want to waste a lot of time on toes, so they're going to be like super ugly. I almost drew 6 toes on that one. So this is going to be here, is going to be up. Remember Cypress video from yesterday, link below, that they tell you that when from this part, from the thumb side, the inner part of the foot, that this is going to be like the 2 ankle bones are going to be on a really tilted angle, which also helps when you're drawing a foot. If you're drawing the leg and then you just draw this part, this kind of wrench, as the video says, before drawing the foot, this tilt already helps you to get this angle for the top of the foot right. So when I take that away, does it look like a foot? It does look like a foot. Same thing applies here. This is a bit more complicated, I believe. So, well, I'm not going to put a lot of effort on the toes. Sorry. It's going to be something like this. So this should be, I know that I have this as reference, but, well, I'm cheating a bit. It's not that bad. It's never bad to use reference. But, you know, with these shapes that I just described, well, it does look like a foot. It does feel like a foot. Like, this is something you can draw and get away with. And I'm saying it that way because I still have a lot of practice, because I only started paying attention on how to draw feet, well, just, what, 3 days ago? So, yeah, I still have a long way to go. But I think that this is the basis for getting feet right. The other part is actually getting proportions right, which, well, I have a lot of homework to do regarding that. So, well, from this angle it's pretty easy. You just, well, let's just do this and see what happens. Well, this angle is pretty easy. And this, the tendons, they all go to this part. So there you have it. It looks like a foot. It's not like a super realistic foot, but it is a foot nonetheless. This one here, you have to follow the curve of this shape. But remember that on the other side is going to be this shape. The ankle is going to be somewhere around here. The big toe is going to be somewhere around here. Does it look like a foot? Yes, it does. Oh, this is an awful toe. What the hell? Let's just do this. I kind of fix it, I guess. Let's try. How many more do we have? Just 2 more. Oh, these ones are the ones from behind. Oh, these ones are a bit boring. So, since this is the inner part, the ankle should be a bit like this. And this one is pretty like simple, right? Does it look like a foot? Yes, it does. And this one is here with the, here's the heel. And well, this one's pretty boring. Like there should be some sort of curve here. like the angle should be here, it may be a bit up. This. Does it look like a foot? Well, in its sketchy, very, very sketchy way, it does. So I'm going to declare this a win! But here's the thing. It doesn't end there, because most of the time you're not drawing people barefoot, you're drawing them with shoes. So my final mission for tomorrow is going to figure out how to draw shoes. Of course that I'm going to need a lot of reference, but here's the thing, if you learn how to draw feet, and then you have to draw a different volume and a different shape, covering the feet, it is useful to know the feet, but you need to learn a lot more in order to get shoes right. Now, I can't draw shoes to save my life, so this is going to be a big challenge for me. Wish me a lot of luck and stay tuned so you can see if I actually have any secrets. So tomorrow I think there's going to be a mixture between a lot of links to good tutorials on drawing shoes, because you know there must be at least one, and then I'm going to try and practice that and see what happens. So stay tuned. I'm Javi, I can draw, I'm sure that you can draw too, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!